So your book comes out today, January 23rd. I was lucky enough to get a copy just a little bit in advance. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, I could not put it down. It's so good. It's so relatable. You've lived such a colorful, extraordinary life. But there's so much about your childhood and your upbringing and kind of why you did the things you did or the choices that you made was really explained in this book. And I think that that is the most relatable thing about you because when people see your photo or hear your name or hear your association with Playboy, they just think one thing usually until they get to the human behind that headline. And you are so different than I think what has been represented about you for so long. And that's why I thought it was so important to have you on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy to be on with you.
Thank you. So I wanted to start with your childhood. You have, an amazing, loving family that you grew up with. Can you share a little bit about where you came from, your siblings, your parents, and your relationship with them?
Yeah, so my whole family's from England. We moved to California when I was young. It was my mom, my dad, and my two older sisters. And, they really loved California. My dad was a singer, but he ended up getting sick when he was, I think, 48. He ended up passing. Um,
Sorry.
oh, thanks. And yeah, so they were from England. My mom had nothing. She had no green card. And so she pretty much struggled to make ends meet. It got to the point where we were just renting a bedroom in some other family's home. So I know what it feels like to have nothing.
Mhm.
Um,
And I think something that resonated in your story from that moment is that he was a real, you loved him so much. He was a real hero of yours. You looked up to him, and he kind of was that glue that held your family together. And when he died, it seemed like your mom decided to try to date a lot to find a new life almost, I don't know whether it's to fix herself, but to find a better life or to get an out from being in this home that may have been somewhat depressing at the time. And, it's very interesting how you talk about kind of that moment on, because it really seems like your guy's life changed. You ended up going down a different road a bunch of times throughout your life, but that was to me what it seemed like the first one.
yeah, yeah. And I just felt, I talk about in the book how I didn't really feel like a family anymore, just like the leftover scraps of one.
Mm.
We were very lost. My mom was always sad. And, I would be the one trying to cheer her up and like, snap out of it, come on. And I think I had to grow up quick,
Yeah.
having to take care of her. And yeah, it was hard. But finally she remarried
Mhm.
but it was to somebody that was kind of awful.
Right. So you mentioned in your book that this stepfather was sort of the one that introduced you to Playboy, at least on his shelves. That's where you first saw it. And to you, you thought these women were real women with real power, the height of culture and refinement. I found that interesting in your book, that that's kind of what you aspired to from looking at what he had high up on his shelves.
Yeah. To me, that guy Lyle, my mom's husband, to
Mm.
me, I'm like, wow, this guy, he had a condo and a Mercedes, owned a condo and had a Mercedes. I'm like, wow, he's rich. Like I thought he
Yeah.
was just so like almost like better than us. For
Right.
some reason, if you have no money, everyone's like better than you. Um, and in his office, he had all of these Playboy magazines that were in like magazine holders, and they were like all displayed on his shelves. And I didn't think of it at the time, like, oh, this guy is just a pervert, basically. But what I did was I took down the magazines and I saw these women and I just thought, wow. They were in these powerful poses and these exotic places, which I come to find out is just settings, like a set inside the same studio. And I just
Yeah.
switched the sets. They could be anywhere inside that studio. But yeah, I thought these women were powerful and had the world at their feet and people respected them. And I'm like, wow, I want to be just like these women in the pages.
Right. And you talk a lot in your book, in your childhood and throughout your life, feeling a sense of not being worthy or not being good enough, not being pretty enough, sort of living a life behind a rope and everyone else was getting to live this life that you wanted to live. And I found that to be sad, but also super relatable. I mean, I think so many feel like that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. When my mom married Lyle, he was in the La Jolla school district, and that's, really nice neighborhood in San Diego. So I was very fortunate to be able to go to a really good school. I went to La Jolla High School and, middle school there as well. But quickly you learn that, a lot of those kids and their families had so much money.
Yeah.
And with money comes power and power over other people. So I did feel small, and I did feel like I didn't really belong, or that I wasn't important as these other people, for sure.
Right. Right. So I love how you talk about your sort of first boyfriend, Liam, and how he didn't speak very much and it was sort of short lived. And he ended up basically the most he spoke to you was when he had to tell you he was breaking up with you because he cheated on you with the girl from church or something,
Yeah, the first the
which
first
made
boy,
me laugh.
I know, the first boy, yeah, you think you love, right? You're just,
Mm,
wow, this is love. And I feel like that situation shattered my trust and
right.
gave me trust issues for the rest of my life, because
Right.
it's the first significant relationship.
Right.
But looking back, I laugh about it, but to be cheated on young is hard.